Hello, 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 and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, everything in between every Saturday, and interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, that guy, James J., alongside the leader of Squash Squad, Kalika Mats.
In the snow of far off northern lands and in the sunny tropic scenes, you will find us always on the job, the United States Marines. Oh, that just sounds so good. Oh, right there in the fields. Hoorah.
And the American Scooter Dust, who is not here tonight. But it is still a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with WWE Survivor Series 2018. Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. This was your pick, Kaliko.
Yes, indeed it was. And the pick was more so about the implications and the complications than the match itself. Because the rumor at this time was that Charlotte was meant to be the WrestleMania match, right?
Yes.
The Mania match was supposed to have been Charlotte Ronda for all intents and purposes. And Becky Lynch was literally supposed to be just the stepping stone at that point. But as we go through the match never came to be for Rousey and Lynch, which basically put Lynch into a stratosphere without even having to be in the match, which is the most craziest thing about wrestling, is that like an outcome that was expected, but it didn't happen. But because it didn't happen, it put somebody in a higher regard than ever before.
And, of course, you want to fire up your WWE networks, get your DVDs out, your VHSs, your Betamaxes, or more accurately, pull out your Peacock. You want to go to Survivor Series 2018, and you want to go to the timestamp of 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 4 seconds into the show. I will count you down from 3, 2, 1. On 1, press play. Are you ready?
Ready!
And 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Now keep in mind, this is Ronda Rousey's only Survivor Series match.
Yes, it is.
Her only Survivor Series. She literally did a year from what? Mania 20, all of 2018. She basically did 2018 to 2019.
Yes.
So she did the big four and called it a day.
I mean, she did more in her 1 year than most do in their whole career.
That is true. And keep in mind, when that happened, the whole disarm her, I think Becky was already. See, Becky was one of those people where it was just like crazy. The Becky Balboa didn't stick. But for some odd reason, the crowd was just not going to allow it to happen. To me, she's the female Daniel Bryan. I swear to God. But except she's better on the mic. But I think she has a more loyal following than Daniel Bryan.
I don't feel like
easily.
I don't think that the Becky Balboa didn't stick. I just feel like she wasn't. Just it was bad timing to have her where she was at that point. Well, maybe she didn't quite know who she was when she won that championship.
Well, she was the first SmackDown Women's Champion, and remember, she got smoked by
Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss. So to me, her at this time they had the four horsewomen, and of course Sasha and Charlotte were at the top. And at this point, it was like Becky and Bayley are the two weak links, and I think that this scene, her getting a busted nose and still fighting, it kind of threw her in the atmosphere. Now, keep in mind, she couldn't fight because of the broken nose and the concussion. So it was weird that, I mean, it was kind of obvious that Charlotte was going to get picked, but
WWE
it
does.
just didn't,
Yep.
it didn't make it feel better because they were kind of pushed in a corner because you easily could have put any of the other women in there, but you knew that the outcome would be in doubt.
Right.
So the injury forced WWE to force their hand to put a WrestleMania match at Survivor Series in Los Angeles.
Because WWE and McMahon has a rule that if you can't deliver a match, you give them that you promoted, you give them something better.
That is true. And I also think at this time, I think Becky was finding her place on the microphone as well. Because keep in mind, she never really was like the promo person, right?
Right.
And I truly feel like, honestly, I think this was real life. Because to me, I think Becky was really at that point where she was really looking forward to proving herself against Ronda. And the fact that it just didn't happen, you could just hear her heart on that damn microphone.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, Charlotte, of course, is a great substitute, but it it's crazy how this match, like, Becky wasn't there, but she was there, right? Like, that's the crazy part.
Right.
To me.
Being
in this crowd, it was like, I was in this crowd, so it was just nuts how it was like anti-Ronda.
I was in this crowd as well. And, the day prior, going to a meet and greet with The Undertaker, that's a whole story on its own. The guy in line with me, he was kind of saying, wait until they put, to make the match of Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch in the main event of WrestleMania. And remember, you heard it first from the guy in line. And I was like, or I could say that I heard it first from Dave Meltzer, which has been rumored for about a week now.
Yeah, but even then, I didn't think it was going to happen.
I don't think
Because keep in
anybody ever
mind,
expected that the main event, the last match, was going to be these girls.
Well, you got to think of the story arc from that, though, right?
Right.
Because Becky was the champ. She lost to Asuka that night at the Rumble, and went on to win the Rumble, which is one of the first times I've ever seen a champion lose. She lost the rematch and then entered herself in the Rumble to be champion. Because usually, Royal Rumble precedents, the title participants are not in the Royal Rumble.
Usually no, yeah. There's
So
been
it
some
was just
exceptions over the years, but never where they actually come and win.
Exactly. So keep in mind, Becky loses to Asuka, then Asuka loses to Charlotte, which sets it all up. But I think that this whole time frame is the reason it got set up. Because we all kind of knew Charlotte Ronda Mania was going to happen. But we didn't think Becky was going to be in the picture.
No, I mean,
not one bit.
this all really started in the triple threat match at SummerSlam, where Becky turned heel on Charlotte, and the people popped hard for Becky turning. And I don't think anybody expected that reaction from the crowd, that it was so pro Becky and so anti Charlotte. I can understand why it was anti Charlotte. If the company's going with somebody, the crowd is not going to like it. Their first instinct is to say, no, I don't want this.
But here's the thing. I remember I was in Dago when they teased Bailey turning on Sasha, right?
Right,
They're gonna pop anyway because it's just a change, right? But with them two, it just felt like they had enough. And keeping in mind, at that time, I think Becky was playing like the nice girl at that time. She was like, "Oh, I'm happy for you, Charlotte." Blah 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 blah. But when it really fucked, when it messed with her goal, that's when it was kind of like the tipping point, right?
right.
So that and that's so relatable, where you like have a person who is your friend and in competition, and you really 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 want to see them succeed, but not at your expense, and it happens at your expense, and you just fucking go the fuck off, you black out.
No,
And this was like Charlotte, like my throne, Ronda, and this is supposed to have been a WrestleMania match, and I felt like if this was 101, Charlotte would have won at Mania. That's why I think that the way it ended kind of crazy.
right. And, this was the first time that Ronda experienced a hostile crowd. Everything
Which
prior to this was happy to see her, well, we want her to succeed. Yay, Ronda. And this was the first time where it was, we don't want you.
which is awkward considering it's in LA. She lives in Long at the time she was in Newport Beach. So it wasn't like she was like a 30-minute drive from there. So she was Cali through and through,
But
which is
also,
odd.
these big four pay previews you're not getting just the base Los Angeles crowd. You're getting people coming in from New York, Chicago, England, Australia. So you have all of those different opinions as well.
But keep in mind, this is where we were talking in the previous one, where this was a big four, but it wasn't in a football-esque stadium, right?
Yeah.
It's at the Staples Center. Staples Center at max is 20. So it's not like a whole swath of people are coming over, right? Like for a Mania.
So, but
But it was
you're still gonna get in those mixes.
true. And I just saw like I just remember because when she came out, they held the whole California thing. Same with Nia Jax. And they booed Nia Jax that night for those as we were sitting there. They booed Nia Jax that night because Nia Jax was the reason this match happened.
I certainly booed tonight, Jax.
I can't boo Nia Jax, man. I can't. Them peeps. But it's just crazy how like one punch just changed everything for the women's division as far as like what was planned.
Very true. And
Cause
just so anybody wondering, this was November 18th, 2018. It took place in Los Angeles, California, at the Staples Center, with an attendance of 16,325.
this is also the day I actually was interviewed by the WWE. We actually did our taping for my K Jewelers promotion this day, which
And,
was awesome. So yeah, I got a little history. I got a little bias. Sue me. But
I get that.
but it was also mainly because this match it was good, and Ronda's bleeding and people are happy as hell, and they're just like getting tired of Ronda, which is weird because they were doing Ronda like female Brock Lesnar, and it except she's not as big as Brock Lesnar, but she has the credentials of Brock Lesnar. And that was the thing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because people at this time, I think they hated Charlotte. I mean, not hate is a strong word. I think they just hated the opportunities that she got.
Right, because Becky was so over at this point.
Yeah, but they were like, please don't lose to this motherfucker.
Yeah.
They were like, of all people, we will, which is crazy. The hero that you don't want ends up being the hero you need. It just happens that way. Because keep in mind, I think if Becky were in this match, she would have lost. It would have been a loss. And then
Probably.
Charlotte would have beat Becky. And Charlotte would have beat Becky. And then Becky goes by the wayside, and Charlotte and Ronda goes on to Mania, which is weird because keep in mind that after this they have the triple threat match with the ladder match, and Asuka just pops out of nowhere, right? Like,
Yeah. That's very true. What
Asuka
happened there?
pops out of nowhere, wins the match, which people were happy because at that time Asuka was over too.
Right.
And it was, it's just crazy how
Not to
that
mention
shit
she
just
didn't
goes
get the
about.
opportunity she was supposed to get the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole other debate
Actually,
for
actually,
another watch along.
no, actually, no. Not even the year prior. That same year, because it was 2018.
Yeah.
Remember, she won the first women's Royal Rumble
Yeah, that's right.
and went on to face Charlotte and loses to Charlotte in New Orleans.
Yep. Just so anybody that wants to watch the rest of this card, Team Raw, Mickie James, Nia Jax, Tamina Bailey, and Sasha Banks defeated Team SmackDown, Naomi, Carmella, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and Mandy Rose. Seth Rollins, Team Raw, defeated Shinsuke Nakamura, SmackDown. Um, AOP, Razor and Ankam, defeated The Bar, Cesaro, and Sheamus. AOP was Raw as well. Buddy Murphy defeated Mustafa Ali in a singles match for the Cruiserweight Championship. Team Raw, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley, uh, with Baron Corbin and Leo Rush, defeated Team SmackDown, The Miz, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy. And the main event of this show was Brock Lesnar defeating Daniel Bryan.
Which we was the dream match we wanted, but I felt like the match of the night was Rollins Nakamura.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That
That was
match was just
fire.
oh. But what's worse, the fact that like I feel like out of everyone here, Sanity's gone, Gallows Anderson gone, Cologne's gone, B Team gone, Revival gone,
Nope.
House Party gone, Ascension gone, AOP gone, Mickey gone, Murphy gone,
Daniel Bryan gone.
Brian, but it's not of his own attrition, right?
Yeah.
Strowman gone,
Ronda Rousey gone.
Rousey gone. Like it's crazy. That match. This was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which makes it crazy. And as Charlotte tries to put that figure 8, and the crowd was like, yes, please make this bitch a bloody Ronda Rousey. And everybody's like, fuck this bitch. And usually you never see a crowd, especially with a women's match, go, fuck this bitch. But they were like, fuck this bitch.
Well, this was kind of like we were saying, as much as the women's revolution that started in what 2016, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that was what it
Like,
was, and they elevated the women. SummerSlam 2018 was the catalyst for the women to be the main event.
oh, yeah. That was the lightning in a bottle, because I could make an argument like it's going to be hard for them to get it again, and I hate to say it. It's going to be hella hard, and the reason being is because it's not that, it's just that they don't have the name. Like, the biggest name is Charlotte, right? Ronda Rousey, the only reason that match even became a triple threat because Rousey was literally like, when it comes to name, at that time she was above every man in that bitch. She was literally, it was her, Lesnar, and everybody else.
Very true.
So that's why I think it's going to be really, really hard.
The match at Mania was Flair versus Rousey. The fans interjected Becy Lynch because they wanted her, and if she wasn't, they were going to riot. And the rivalry was so explosive, and the people were so invested in everything that was happening. It had to be the main event. It had to go on.
True. But I also like, as Charlotte misses the pen here, and for people, everybody that say WWE didn't get it, I would say this was the one time they learned their lesson and didn't wait until the end to do it, because they easily could have did it the way they did with Daniel Bryan, where it was like Becky had to fight one night and then come on in and do it again and da. But the fact that they saw it happening here, right?
Right.
Was like, okay, they're thinking ahead. Because without that, think about this, without that busted nose, Becky Lynch is not the star that she is now.
I could make the argument her in that crowd raising her hand is more iconic than her raising the 2 belts at WrestleMania.
You can. Yep. Definitely agree. Because I think that it was an act of defiance. It was the defiant, right?
Yeah.
It was the fact that Becky had the balls to go up to Rousey. Whether she won or not wasn't going to be the point. But it was someone who was an outsider going up against, like, the most well-liked woman in WWE. Or the most popular woman in WWE.
If she actually did go into this, my God, Rousey is just battered, beaten, and bruised.
Oh, yeah.
If she actually did go into that match, and Rousey won, would the crowd would have rioted?
Well, it's weird because right after this, it's not like she cuts a promo, but she's kind of like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah. She essentially turns heel after this.
I mean, they had no choice. Pink kendo stick. And the crowd was like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Crowd was like, fuck yeah. And Charlotte was
so happy
bitch.
for a disqualification.
Yes,
Usually it's
as the
boo,
crowd
disqualification. And for no, it was, yeah, she beat her with a kendo stick.
beating the piss out of her with a kendo stick. It ain't that.
What was your tickets out for this match?
Floor seats on the by the ramp,
Okay. So
and
you,
it ain't like she hit her with it. She broke the bitch. Like
yeah.
she broke the stick, and the crowd is like, "Yes, thank God, she earns it." And I think they start chanting "Yes" at one
Yes.
point.
She's
And
taking
it's
off the
just like
SmackDown short to show that this isn't Raw and SmackDown. This is just a one-sided beatdown.
this is a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. And Charlotte just went apeshit crazy,
Because she was
and
supposed to,
it
Charlotte was supposed to be a face at this point, and it was kind of, this was like, I fucking had it with all this. You wanted Becky, I'm here. I did it. Oh,
yep.
look for the, oh my
And
god,
then
that's
she
Pat
get
McAfee in the front row.
and now look at him, one row up, and the greatest
Yeah.
commentator we have in our lives. But it did the chair. It's just crazy how like look at that. Like Charlotte just was going ape shit, yo. And it's just like I don't get it. It was just you know.
This is frustration
But
from the last couple of months that she was not wanted.
but I mean, you could say she handles it better 3 years later.
I think 3 years later, it's kind of coming to pass more now than it did back then. Like,
But but the problem is, it's like no matter what, she look at that natural selection on the chair. But she's the bar, though. She's literally the gate. Like for better or for worse, as much as everybody's like Sasha, like of all the Money in the Bank cash-ins, only other than one, everyone was on Charlotte. If that doesn't scream the bar, I don't know what does it tell you?
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
she's not she's not the first selected player in the game. If you have the option of Becky, you're gonna choose Becky first. If
yeah,
Sassy's
because
entered, you're gonna,
it's
yeah.
the fan favorite, but it's not like Charlotte didn't earn it.
Oh no,
Look at that! Look at that! Look at
she's
that! She
more
was ready
Charlotte
to
Flair than Ric Flair's daughter at this point.
look at that. Charlotte wanted to end her boy. Like got the chair on her neck. See, that's what I'm saying. Like she was ready. She was about that life.
You know, for
And the
all we
crowd is
know,
screaming yes. And there shout out to the guy in the top corners doing the Daniel Bryan yes as he's like bam.
Charlotte was supposed to win the Royal Rumble and go on to beat Ronda Rousey at Mania.
That's what I'm betting. I'm betting it's supposed to happen that way. But Charlotte, I think this was like the Charlotte's about that. This was this is that Charlotte willing to go there. And when she went there, it was like, yeah. And I think the crowd was cheering as Ronda left the building. It was kind of like that Philadelphia Michael Irvin, future Raw executive Adam Pearce.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Charlotte just snapped, yo. Charlotte just snapped. I'm the man in this bitch, and that's exactly what she said. You see how? And go figure. Now, and look who took that name, the man, Charlotte or Becky.
And what are we coming up to? we're coming up to a Charlotte Flair Becky Lynch match at Survivor Series 3 years later.
Yep.
Kind
And
of
you
where
know
it
what's funny?
all started.
The crowd is yelling, "Thank you, Charlotte."
Yeah.
Thank you. So if that, like, think about that, right? Like, think about it. You're in your backyard. You're literally in your backyard. Charlotte does that, and everybody's going, "Thank you, Charlotte, for doing that." Shout out to the dude that got Hi David. I think I know that guy. Matthew, hold on, wait, whoa. I'm about to rewind this. I think I know that guy who's holding the sign. I do. I know that guy. His name is Matthew. Jesus Christ. Matthew, shout out. You'll probably see me somewhere around here. But, God, yeah, think about that, man. This is just nuts. That's why I think this match, as much as, like, no one really cared about the action in the match, but it was more about the story before and after. And to me, we're more enthralled with the story. Oh my God, I know who that girl is.
This match is
Jesus,
kind of
on the
like
replay.
a time capsule.
It is. It's a point in time, an inflection point.
Yes.
Because listen to the crowd. They're chanting yes and thank you, Charlotte,
And
to who WWE was going to be their biggest face. Think about that.
right.
Bink, natural selection on the chair. And then she steps on that bitch with her neck in that hoe.
And
Boom!
people are supposed to be upset for you and like, oh my God, Ronda, no, you're hurt, and they're cheering it.
They're
They want
cheering
it.
her.
They want more.
Yes,
They're chanting one more time, meaning they want more damage dealt to you.
exactly.
And you came out smiling, waving. You gave a kid
Gloves.
a gloves. What did you do wrong?
I'm just trying to figure out why Adam Pearce is trying to give Ronda Rousey water after her fucking chest just got collapsed. Like, bro, no, the medical team is all failures. And then look at her. She tries to get up, and it's just, yeah. But I will say this. You remember when Dominic got his ass hit by them kendos by Seth?
Yeah.
That's exactly what. And it was like the welcome to WWE moment.
Yeah.
Ronda never got her welcome to WWE moment till right now.
No, you are absolutely right about that.
It's like, so you want to be in the business, huh? And then she walks on her own attrition. That's what makes it worse. Right? Like, but,
If they would have carried her out, you don't have to deal with it. But walking out made it worse because the crowd had more opportunities to cheer you.
I know, right? And and as the crowd is leaving, they're cheering Becky.
Yeah.
The crowd is cheering Becky as she's leaving. Think about that. That's why I say it's a deflection point, because Charlotte literally beats the shit out of her. Everyone's cheering, and then she's leaving after getting her ass stomped, and they're cheering another motherfucker's name.
So even everything that Charlotte did for the business and to entertain the crowd, it still wasn't good enough. We still wanted Becky. And
Exactly.
that's what goes up Charlotte's ass the wrong way.
Pretty much, because, and that's why I picked this match. I think this is like, I can say this is the first wrestling match where the motherfucker who's not in the match and is not even in the building.
She was in the building.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
To them, she wasn't in the. Well, no, she was in the building. You're right, but she wasn't in the match. But you knew she wasn't coming out, and everyone's just cheering Becky. Think of that influence, yo. That's why I say it's a cult like following. Daniel Bryan didn't even get that, yo. Because think about it, when Daniel Bryan was out with his neck shit, um, they weren't cheering Daniel Bryan when Brock Lesnar was suplexing that ass.
That's very true.
When Brock Lesnar was suplexing John Cena, they were like Daniel Bryan.
But that wasn't the thing about that was it was an injury that prevented him. It wasn't like the company was holding him back type thing.
But this was an injury that prevented her, and the crowd still didn't give a fuck. I think this is when also the crowd found their voice too. Like fuck this shit. Remember when you said Wild Wild West? We gonna cheer for who we want to cheer. Shit, they took it to heart that night.
Oh yeah, and
And
they wanted Becky.
they wanted Becky, and they did not like Nia. I swear to God, Nia was like, and you said it and earlier, Team Raw won that match, and Nia was a sole survivor, if I remembered right. And, and she was the sole survivor.
And don't think that they
Doesn't
didn't do
matter.
that just to aggravate the crowd.
Right. So she was not only the sole survivor that night, and she fucked over Becky. She beats Asuka that night to be the sole survivor.
Yeah.
Try fucking fecta Nia Jax as she's being cut this month. Son of a bitches, yo. Think about that. Think about that. One person ruined, I wouldn't say ruined, but offset so much shit.
Well, she definitely ruined my night because I was looking forward to Becky and Ronda. But I guess
I wasn't.
in the greater
I
scheme of
wasn't.
things.
I
But
wasn't because I knew it was going to be Becky Slaughter. I mean, I thought I would have thought Becky would have lost and she would have got thrown at the wayside. But by the fact that that happened, it it it's crazy that someone got injured and they became a bigger star when they came back.
true.
Like usually you're kind of like starting from where you were and building upon that, but when she came back, it was like holy shit. And then that, if I remember right, I went to Survivor Series. Then I went to the Royal Rumble when she won it, and it was just fucking crazy, crazy.
And I mean, it wasn't. Yes, she got injured, but it wasn't like an injury that prevented. That was like a 6 month injury. It was only like maybe a month she
A
was
couple
out.
weeks,
Huh?
yeah, a couple weeks,
Yeah.
a month top. But it wasn't that. It was just the fact that it was a opportunity gone by.
Right.
But I also felt like if she was in that match, they would have been stuck in a corner because it was either Becky wins or we riot.
Yeah. That was CM Punk Chicago territory.
Pretty, that's what I'm saying. It's just crazy how like that girl, like not none, no offense to nobody else, but I feel like Becky just gets like this. And 3 years later, she's trying to be a heel, and no one's like, everyone's like, no one give a fuck. We rock with you because we've been rocking you with you from day one.
Right.
So that's where it's like crazy. It's just crazy, and that's the power of wrestling, to be in a nutshell. Where They want people to boo somebody, but we love them so much that we would rather cheer the heel.
And
Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen.
that will conclude our watch along for tonight. Join us for all of the rest of Survivor Series weekend, as you have already have. The watch along with the Smash Hit Joel Bateman, the Runway, Clay Wilson, interview with Billy Starks, um, the watch along of the SummerSlam, Summer Showdown tournament, Summer of Kaliko as we're calling it, in winter, uh, and all accumulating to Survivor Series. Watch it on the UNBS network with Scooter Dust on the remix, the only live alternative commentary on the web today or ever. Of course, like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. I might have already said that. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Wrestling with E. Of course, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Follow me at JamesJ993. Where can they find Kaliko?
If you don't find me hungover from Marine Month, you can find me on Twitter at I am Kaliko.
And of course, you can find Scooter at Scooter Dust. For Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey guys, this is Brutal Bob Evans from Hangs with Bob Seminars and TheWrestleLife.com, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.